Welcome to another Numismatic Notes with Benjamin. I am Benjamin, and tonight I am privileged to share with you one of my favorite banknotes of all time. I was able to get this banknote and a sequentially numbered note this past week in the mail from a friend of mine who lives in Gibraltar. And I've got a lot to share with the note, but as much as I have to share with the note, I have a lot I can't share with the note because of the constraints of time. So bear with me, and let's hope it provokes a conversation that we can have in the comments or in some of the famous banknote forums around the world. What I have to share with you tonight is a Gibraltar 50-pound banknote. You can see right here that it is dated the 1st of December 2006. It measures 158 by 85 millimeters. Although I haven't checked that, that's what several references said. Although I have seen several references that say a little bit different measurement, so maybe we can find out from everybody just what the real deal is. This banknote is printed on a paper substrate. It was actually withdrawn from circulation in August of 2011, so they actually have a current, much smaller sized 50-pound banknote. And if you ask me, a lot of the romance is gone as well. Pick catalog calls us a 34, while the banknote book calls us a 126. In addition to Pick and the banknote book, I use Wikipedia, and I especially use an article on the portraits of Queen Elizabeth by Peter Sims. This note is predominantly red, orange, and some say violet. I also think there's some browns in there as well. And it was printed by Delarue, and I wanted to point out that the engraving here is probably that of Alan Dow, very famous engraver. And I want to start with the security features on this note. Right here we see a watermark of the Queen, and alongside it to the left there is a windowed security thread. Over here to the right of the Queen is an offset register. So part of this design is in color on the face of the note, and part of this design is in color on the back of the note. When you hold it up to the light, you have a complete design there. What it is of, don't have a clue. I'm thinking it might have something to do with some of the rotary blades on an airplane, and you might wonder why until we see the back of the note, and then that should be answered. We also have horizontal serial numbers that ascend in size and a vertical serial number that has the same size numbering. There is lathe work completely covering the background, so there's actually no blank portion of this note without some sort of printing on it. There are 3 tactile bars right over here to the right of the arms of Gibraltar. What I'm not able to show you are the fact that there are fluorescing elements, including a 50 inside a box that appears under black light when you hold this note underneath ultraviolet light. Here in the bottom right-hand corner, we have a feature of a latent image. You can see the 50 here, but when you angle the note, you will see a key here as well. And then where I showed you the watermark was earlier, if you have that little plastic hookie that you hold over it, you can see a moire image over the watermark. It's all very fascinating and quite a lot of security details on a note that is just paper. Now let's get to the design. Here on the face of the note we have Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II right here, but unbeknownst to most people, there is also a portrait of her father, King George VI, on the family order that she's wearing on her sash. And on this note, you can see the top of the family order that contains that of her grandfather, King George V. The family orders are a gift of the reigning monarch, usually to female members of the family, and so that's why you will not see any of the younger royals bearing family orders of King George VI or King George V. They can only be gifted by the reigning monarch. And as you know, Queen Elizabeth is the reigning monarch, so all the family orders she grants would have her picture on them. There is the coat of arms, as I mentioned here, and there is I don't know if I'm saying this right, and so forgive me, and I hope I'm okay, but right here seems to be a pyride butterfly, and there is, according to some of the references, 2 swallowtail butterflies, and I see the one here, and I looked and looked and looked, and it wasn't until I looked behind the 50 that I found the second one right over here. This is next to a carriage being pulled by a horse and manned by a driver right here. And let's not overlook the fact that we have some Barbary apes. There's a pair of Barbary apes right over here. Scientific name, Macacus sylvanus. And again, I don't know if I'm saying that right. There is also some sort of flower badge up here that I was unable to identify. Now, let's get back to the portrait of the Queen. The portrait of the Queen here is from an official photo by Terry O'Neill. She is wearing a tiara that consists of diamonds and some of the Burmese rubies that she was gifted upon her wedding. This tiara was commissioned in 1973, and it was made by Gerard, who also made the matching earrings, according to one source. And that other source was like, I have no idea about that necklace. But I found another reference that said that the diamonds came from part of the gift from the Nizam of Hyderabad and Berar. Now, this other resource said that the necklace and earrings were actually a ruby swag necklace, and the earrings might be from a 1979 gift from the Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Khalifa bin Hamad Al Thani, who gave these diamonds and necklace and jewelry to the Queen in 1979. That may or may not be true. Never seen the jewelry in person, and don't really know too terribly much about it. Let's take a look at the back of this fantastic note. Oops. Here we go. Let me adjust the camera for you. Here we have an amazing back of this banknote. Shown prominently is Winston Churchill to the right. And this is probably taken from a portrait taken at the Canadian Parliament in 1941 by the photographer Yusuf Karsh. He calls this photo the Roaring Lion, and I've identified it to the photo based on the polka dot tie, the suit that's typical of Churchill, but the pattern of wrinkles on his forehead exactly matches the portrait that he took, so I'm going to say it came from that portrait. If you have more information or better information, please, by all means, correct me. I love to have right information, and I don't like to give people wrong information. All right. Over here in the background, you can see the Rock of Gibraltar. And up here, I thought, is this some sort of Captain America? There's a torch, and it looks like a shield of Captain America and some other shield. And I was like, huh. And then I started thinking, the actor who plays Captain America also played the Torch, the Human Torch, in one of the Fantastic Four movies. So I'm pretty sure this isn't, to honor Marvel or DC. I did find out that it is a torch and shields that actually honor Operation Torch, which was a joint British-American operation. And that figures into detail a little bit more. And you see right here that there are Spitfires at the North Front in 1942. Almost all the resources count 4 Spitfire fighter planes here. There are one-seaters. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then in the background, there's a little tiny one facing the other direction. So there are actually 5 Spitfires on the back of this note. The Supermarine Spitfires were single-seat craft used by the Royal Air Force and Allied countries before, during, and after World War II, clear up into the 50s in some of the research I found. And I hesitate to offend any people who love this topic by accidentally overlooking or accidentally overemphasizing more from the wealth of information based on these planes. So I leave it to others to talk about which model of the Spitfire, its weaknesses, its strength. I just know that they're here to symbolize the beauty of the international cooperation in World War II. Now, what people might not realize is that Gibraltar had a significant role in World War II, supporting the naval supremacy of the traffic from the Atlantic into the Mediterranean. And Gibraltar had a harbor that allowed for forces to operate in both the Atlantic and the Mediterranean. And so this made them a frequent Axis target. So Operation Torch, the Allied invasion of French North Africa, was administered from Gibraltar. It was commanded by Dwight David Eisenhower, who at the time was a lieutenant general. And upon the successful completion, Gibraltar continued to function as a rear area supply position What I thought was neat about this was that Churchill and President Roosevelt designed this operation together. So here we have it, guys, a banknote with a lot of history and appropriately so, with Winston Churchill, with the planes that were very instrumental in winning the war, and with the topography of a beautiful stronghold of the United Kingdom. Not to mention, every time I see Winston Churchill, I think about my favorite rude comment, because the man was full of them. And this may or may not be apocryphal, but it made sense when I heard it. And one of them was that he was at a fancy restaurant and he ordered breast of chicken, which offended that crazy American. What is it with crazy Americans in the UK? But this crazy American by the name of Lady Astor told Winston that he was rude and that he should refer not to the breast of chicken, but to the white meat. I guess they still had a thing in this time about prudery. So, a chastened Churchill accepted her correction, and as a gesture, gave her a corsage that she received in the mail the next day, along with a note suggesting that she pin it to her white meat. Now, this may or may not be true, but I always get a giggle every time I hear about it. I am Benjamin. This is Numismatic Notes with Benjamin. This is I believe more than 150 videos that I have on my channel now. Please go to Numismatic Notes with Benjamin, like and subscribe, and set yourself up so that you get alerts whenever I make any new content. And I hope you're enjoying my new short advertisements called Numismatic Shorts. Please like and subscribe, and if you have any comments, please make them. I love to engage with the fans. I also want to announce that I have hit 600 subscribers, so thank you one and all for that, and I look forward to the next 600. I hope you guys have a jewel of a day. I am Benjamin.